Listen, we've made mistakes in our RV, and you know what? We're gonna make more mistakes in our RV, and that's okay. I would like to share with you the top 10 mistakes that we have made as RVers over the past year and a half. The first very huge mistake that we have made time and time again, arriving to a campground, especially one we've never been at before, after dark. This is suboptimal in so many ways. Lots of campgrounds don't have lighting, which is a good thing. You want peaceful, dark, quiet campsites. But it also can make it really difficult to find sites if they're poorly labeled, poorly numbered, maybe they're not reflective at all. This can result in one of you literally having to get out of the RV and walk site to site with a flashlight to try and find numbers and markings. It is harder to back into a site after dark. It is harder to set up all of your equipment after dark. You can also get yourself injured because what's on the ground at campsites? Literally everything. Sticks, boulders, stuff that other people left, dogs. Okay, we bring our own dogs, but still, you get what I'm saying. Lots more accidents happen after dark because of low visibility. Also, if you're getting there after dark, you're probably tired, you're probably hungry, you've probably had a long day. Trust me, arriving after dark is always a mistake, and sometimes it's not preventable. If there's any way to arrive at your campsite before it gets dark, prioritize that. Mistake number 2 is failing to keep track of time changes, both with time zones and with the actual time change that happens here in the States twice a year. Lots of parks and campgrounds are really stickly about when you can check in and when you need to leave by. And some of them even close their gates at a certain time. So if you're not arriving before like 6, 7, 8 p.m., you're out of luck for the night. Be really careful to keep track of what time zone you're in and what time zone your destination is going to be in. The third mistake that we have made is failing to do a full walk around the RV right before you leave. Fortunately, we've never left anything that's actually high value, but I use a stool to get in and out of the RV because of my knee. It just makes it a little bit easier. Anybody want to guess what number stool we're on? We're on stool number 3. We've also come very close to leaving our dog bowls because we want the dogs to have water as late as possible before we leave. And I have seen other people leave their wheel chocks, leave their leveling system, and I've seen someone leave a whole entire rug behind when they left their campsite. Even if you have a pretty good rhythm for packing up and getting moving, it takes you 30 seconds tops to do one final walk around, have a look at your campsite, and make sure you're not forgetting anything. Mistake number 4 that we've made and that I know other people with RVs have made is driving too far for too long in one day. There is a 3-3-3 rule, and there's also a 2-2-2 rule for people RVing, and it says that you should not drive more than 300 miles in a day, you should not arrive to your destination after 3 p.m., and you should stay at your destination at least 3 days before moving on to the next one. Figure out what your comfort zone is. For us, it's about 5 to 6 hours of drive time, which ends up being a 6 to 8 hour day of driving with the stops and traffic and going really slow because we have a motorhome. In some conditions, that 300 miles is going to take less than 6 hours. And in some conditions, that 300 miles is going to take you literally all day. So instead of focusing on that hard and fast rule, figure out what you're comfortable with. Figure out what kind of travel day you can have that you can arrive at your site and not be miserable. That the next day you wake up and think, oh, what are we gonna do today? Not, oh my god, I'm exhausted, I hate my life, this is terrible. Figure it out and then stick to it. Don't push it. There is no reason to push your boundaries. There's no reason to try and just get a little bit further. You don't have anything to prove on your travel days. You leave when you leave, you get there when you get there. You travel as far as you travel. Whatever that looks like for you, that you can wake up the next day enjoying your life, that's what you need to stick to. Mistake number 5 that I have made over and over and over again, and that I am still making to this day, is waiting too long to book sites at a specific campground. RVing has exploded since COVID. Campgrounds are packed. Everyone wants to escape the capitalistic hellscape we call our regular lives and sit in a park, okay? And I get it. I am part of the reason the campgrounds get booked up. So trust me, I am not complaining. I am stating that if you don't account for that, you're making a mistake. Best case scenario, you're losing out on a really cool site at a really cool location. Worst case scenario, you show up somewhere and you don't have somewhere to park and sleep. So again, there's a balance to this. As much as you can, plan ahead, know where you're going, know where you want to stay, and if you have something already lined up, go ahead and book it. Just book it, get it over with, you'll thank me. So mistake number 6, believing that a campground has functional Wi-Fi, because it doesn't. It says it does, maybe there's some reviews that say it does, it doesn't. Campground Wi-Fi is a myth. We run our Wi-Fi off of a T-Mobile tower. We also have a Verizon plan that allows us to get onto Sprint towers if we don't have service. And we have a WeBoost on the top of the RV. So we have our main source of internet, a backup source of internet, a backup source of internet, and then campground internet is like number 4 on the list. Especially if you're relying on internet for your livelihood, do not ever count on campground Wi-Fi, ever. Mistake number 7, read your campground description and your site description closely, because sometimes sites don't have water and you get to a site after a really long driving day and there's no water and you think, wow, this must be a mistake. And then you go back and look at your booking and it says that the sites don't have water. Not that that's ever happened to me or anything. That happened to a friend. Different campgrounds will have different types of sites, and it is really important to know what you're booking and know what you should expect. There are different types of electricity at sites. Some sites have water, some do not. Some sites are not level at all. Some sites are at a really sharp angle that a vehicle over a specific dimension is going to struggle with. Some sites have really low trees and branches hanging over them. There are a lot of varieties to sites that can cause you trouble if you haven't planned ahead. So be sure to very closely read your site descriptions to know what you're getting into, know what you're booking, and know what you should expect when you arrive. Mistake number 8 is something that everyone's done and everyone's going to continue doing until the end of days, myself included. And that is neglecting to properly stow for travel. No matter how careful you are, it's gonna get you. You're gonna miss something, you're gonna forget something, you're gonna get in a hurry, you're gonna get complacent. It's going to happen. Sometimes this just means that like your pillows fly off your bed and it's not a big deal. And sometimes this means that really expensive equipment gets broken. And worst case scenario, this could mean that something could fall on you or a travel companion or your pets and actually cause injury. And worst case scenario, if you are in a collision, this could result in things becoming really dangerous. So be sure that you're stowing properly for travel. And something that some people might not think about is that when you stow your cab for travel, you also need to stow your refrigerator and any enclosed areas to prepare for travel, because everything's going to stay in those enclosed areas while you're traveling. But if it gets all jangled around, when you open your fridge, your glass jar full of grape jelly is going to fall on the ground and break, and now you have goopy, sticky glass shards everywhere and 3 dogs that need to go use the bathroom right now because you just parked, but you wanted to get a drink before you got out and started doing things, and now it's just chaos. Mistake number 9 is probably one of the more major mistakes that we've made: ignoring bad campground reviews. Now don't get me wrong, sometimes you only have one option in the middle of nowhere, Utah, and you think, that can't be that bad. It's just one night, it'll be fine. But what actually happens is you plug your RV in and it blows your surge protector. So you go to another site and you plug in there and you realize that the faucet leaks, except you're in Utah and it's the middle of winter and there's a low of like -10 that night. And you think, it's okay, we have a heated hose, we have heat tape, we have insulation to put over the spigot, it'll be fine. Except if the spigot drips all night, outside of the hose tape is going to freeze, and then it's just going to glomp on everything and you won't have water in the morning for coffee. Oh, and the owner's going to get really sassy with you when you ask to move sites because your power blew. If the reviews tell you something about a campground, believe them. Mistake number 10, which is a mistake that we have made and I've seen other people make, is thinking that your RV lifestyle has to look a certain way. What I mean by that is you see a lot of these RVers that, you know, maybe they do work full-time, maybe they're full-time content creators, or maybe they're just on vacation and they're doing something every day. They are hiking, they are biking, they are paddleboarding, they are going out to explore. And that's awesome for them. But that's not what your RV life has to look like if that's not what works for you. At least one of us has had a full-time 40-hour-a-week job on every single trip we've been on. And that means that we don't always go have a grand adventure every day. Hell, we don't even leave our campsite some days. But our way of traveling is still valid. Sometimes we get to a site and the weather is beautiful and the outdoors is beautiful and everything is perfect and we're exhausted. We've been working, we've been driving, we've been doing whatever else, and we just want to sit inside and play a video game. And you know what? If that's what's going to bring you joy, if you are still living a life of adventure that you are happy with, that you know is sustainable for you, and it makes you feel alive, go for it. Whatever your dream lifestyle is, it's okay if it doesn't look like everyone else's. It's okay if it doesn't match the retirees that are in the campground with you. It's okay if it doesn't match the double income, no kids, full-time content creator van lifers, because hopefully you didn't buy your RV for other people. You're not living your life for other people. You're living your life so that it's fulfilling to you. And that's what really matters. Whether you're a full-time RVer, whether you're part-time, whether you're just renting an RV for a weekend and then going back to your home that you stay in 51 weeks of the year. Live your life, dude. I really hope that looking at these 10 mistakes that we've made has been helpful to you in some way. Whether you're considering getting an RV and you're a little bit scared of making mistakes yourself, whether you're a veteran RVer and you started making these mistakes 20 years ago. I hope that me sharing this with you has given you a glimpse into what our lives really look like. It's not the perfectly curated for YouTube shots of making French press coffee in a national forest. It is, but it's not just that. It also is mistakes. And you know what? That's okay. If you've made any mistakes that you want to share with me, please put them in a comment for this video. I would love to hear from you. And if you have any better advice for how to prevent these mistakes, I would also love to hear that. But either way, thank you so much for sticking around through this video. Again, I'm Silver, this is the USS Overlander, and I'll catch you in the next adventure.